Man, welcome back to the Cruise Dynasty podcast. Always giving y'all motherfuckers some content. I always bringing out the best stuff. At the end of the week, I know me, Cswizzy, and Crab, we just dropped one about this past rookie class, and that episode was a good episode. But we gambling now. I like to gamble. I like to throw my money down the drain, just like any good American does. So when I'm gambling, I'm always bringing the poor man on with me. So the poor man, P. Miller, what's going on, man?
What up, Matt? What up, my peoples? How y'all doing? Get your nickels out and your dimes.
Get your nickel bets and your dime bets out because we about to double it up, man. We about to go from 10 cents to 20 cents. That's how we roll.
That's a good weekend right there.
Hey, it's always a good weekend when you could turn one dime into two dimes. So, hey, Cswizzy jumping on here with us. You know, we've been recording tonight, talking some football. So, Cswizzy's on with us. What's going on, Chris?
You talk about nickels and dimes. I mean, you bring back high school. I mean, what's a nickel to a dime, bro? I don't. Shout out, Jerry's, you fucking fool.
What's a nickel to a dime, bro? Man, Chris, I used to when I was in college, I used to show that little music video that they had. That what's a nickel to a dime, bro?
Low key, Boss Nam had the biggest banger of all time, though. They say that it's that loud. I ain't even gonna lie, dude. That shit was a banger.
Hey, man, and while we own it, man, if turn on some Ben Rich. I listen to Ben Rich whenever he drops some shit out there too. So,
yep.
Hey, we always supporting our people, man. There ain't no doubt about it. So, yeah, Chris, man. I mean, not Chris. Poor man. We're gonna run through it. We got some DFS, we got some NFL, we got some college. I'm gonna throw out a little UFC parlay for everybody because UFC 281's out and about tomorrow night, and I can't fucking wait, man. I'm always big on the fights, football and fights. So, Phil, man, we use FanDuel. They have a $60,000 salary cap on there. Kraft uses a different one. He's not on with us tonight, but P, man, go ahead and give us your lineup, man.
All right, I'm gonna run through it. I went defense first, and I got a cheap defense. I went with the Cardinals, Arizona. They going against the Rams, and Arizona's putting up some decent numbers. You know, their defense, and I feel like they're gonna get some sacks for sure against Stafford. So I went cheap defense there. Then I jumped up to tight end, and I got Dalton Schultz, and he was cheap too. And I feel like they're going against Green Bay. He could be getting some targets this week for sure. Green Bay's got their pass defense ain't too bad, so tight end might be a good option for Dallas this weekend. And then, I went to my running backs, and there's two positions for a running back, but I just went ahead and threw my flex and running back too. So I got 3 running backs. They were all pretty cheap. I got Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, both pretty cheap. They were down there next to Zeke, where Zeke's at. So, yeah. And then I got David Montgomery going against Detroit. You know, Swift's going against Chicago, and Jonathan Taylor's going against Vegas. They all got good matchups. Like, they could all go off. And then my wide receivers, I got Tyreek Hill. He was like my most expensive player probably. And then I got Darnell Mooney. I feel like he could have a good game going against Detroit. And I got Cortland Sutton going against Tennessee. Their pass defense ain't that great. So I picked him up. He was kind of a cheap receiver. Him and Mooney were the same price.
Yeah.
So they can just go off. Man, I'm set. I feel like, because my running backs I feel like they're definitely going to hit. So if my receivers there can hit, And my tight end, defense, that's always got to hit too. Oh yeah, and quarterback, I got Patty Mahomes. I was able to get
Hey,
Patty. I was able to get Patty Mahomes because I saved up on all these cheap but good players. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, and I got $100 change, bro. Like I
right.
can spend that. I might upgrade my defense if I can. We'll see. But I got $100 left over to play with, so I could just see what I can make out of that. But what you think about that lineup?
Yeah, I like it. Definitely stacked. Definitely before the season, you looking at them guys. We talk about that's a stacked lineup, like you said. But yeah, Phil, I think I'm with you. I kind of got some players from the same games and stuff as you. Chris, you got any comments on that lineup, real quick, or?
Oh no, that's good.
Yep. All right, here we go. Then I'll roll with it. Like you,
Yeah, what you got, man?
yeah, like you, I always fill out me a DFS lineup just because you and the craft man do it, because I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for y'all, because I don't win. So but I'll give it out to the people anyways. But I feel good about this lineup. I guarantee I'm winning this one right here. So right here, Phil, y'all always you and the craft man always say that you got to hit on the defense and you got to hit on the tight end. So at defense, I went with the New Orleans Saints going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this was as pretty cheap as I could be. Kenny Pickett ain't really been impressive. I'm not a Kenny Pickett hater. We talked about Kenny Pickett in the last episode a little bit. So I went with the New Orleans Saints defense. At tight end, though, Phil, I went cheap as super cheap. I went Cole Kmet going against Detroit. I was high. Yeah, I was high on Komet at the beginning of the year. That offense was so bad. This offense has been pretty good now, and Justin Fields is now starting to get people like Mooney and Komet starting to try to get them involved a little bit, actually making them a little relevant now. So I went with Komet going against Detroit. And when we're gambling a little bit later, I picked the over on them guys. So I'm thinking a lot of points are about to be scored, Chicago and Detroit. So I went with Cole Kmet. So then I'll start from the top. At quarterback, I went with Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, I tried to go as cheap as I could at quarterback, one that I felt comfortable with. That Chicago defense, they done traded Roquan Smith, then traded Quinn. That defense is ass. So, I went with Jared Goff. At running back, like you, Phil, I went Jonathan Taylor. And and the reason is because Jonathan Taylor, he was cheap for Jonathan Taylor standards, and he's coming back this week going against Las Vegas. It's like neither of these teams are trying to win, but I think Jeff Saturday coming in there might light a fire on them guys. So I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor. At my next running back, I went Jamal Williams with Detroit. Same game. I picked a lot of players from this game, Detroit and Chicago. Jamal Williams is taking a lot of points from DeAndre Swift. I got them both on my fantasy team, and I've been playing them both. So I like DeAndre Swift, but Jamal Williams, if that ball's on the one, they're going to put the ball in Jamal Williams' hands for some reason, and DeAndre Swift gets tackled on the one more than anybody I know. So at wide receiver, I went with Chris Olave going against Pittsburgh. I like me some Chris Olave. I've been hyping him up. Next, I went Jerry Jeudy going against Tennessee. We both, Tennessee's pass defense ain't no good. You went Sutton. I went Jeudy this go round. I went Jeudy because Russ ain't no good. So Russ ain't throwing the ball deep to Sutton. And I feel like if Russ actually was good, Sutton would be getting more work. But he's got to stick it close to the line of scrimmage, so Judy's the guy. I went with Amon-Ra St. Brown as my other wide receiver with Jared Goff. I wanted to get me a little stack in, so I'm thinking Amon-Ra, this is the time to do it. My last play, my most expensive player, though, Phil, Jalen Waddle. I love me some Jalen Waddle. I picked, going against Cleveland's defense. This offense with Tua has just been rolling. You went Tyreek Hill, so Jalen Waddle, I feel good with both of these. So what you think, Phil?
Yeah, I really like that lineup. It's like a mirrored reflection of mine. Like we got players from the same team, but different players. So I feel like one of us is definitely going to hit this week, Matt, but maybe not both of us. We'll have to see on that one. But I like that lineup. Like I can see it definitely doing that. When I first did mine, I was going to do Justin Fields as my quarterback, but he was like the third most expensive quarterback, and I was like,
Yeah.
daggum. So I just went with Patty Mahomes because he was like not that much more expensive, and I'm like Patty Mahomes consistently getting you 30 plus points.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, man. I hope Jared Goff does go off because I got him in my fantasy.
Yeah.
So
Phil, I'm with you. I was gonna go before I even got on here. I was thinking I'm gonna try to get Justin Fields, and I seen him as the third expensive guy. I was like, well, fuck that. I can't pick Justin Fields because I'm going cheap. So yeah, it's funny. Me and you, Phil, definitely was thinking the same way, except we just went different players in these games. So one of us will win. Both of us ain't. Well, if we both win, it could happen. But
yeah,
um,
because I feel like definitely that Chicago Detroit game. I feel like I picked the over in that one for sure, and it
all
was
right.
like 48 or 49 or something like that.
Yep.
So
48 and
definitely.
a half is what I got it as, but that's according to my bookie.
Yeah.
But so Phil, you ready to move on to these NFL lines? I see Chris looks like he's writing some shit down over there. I don't know.
Oh, look at my phone. I was
Uh,
trying to make a
uh,
lineup real quick. What's the cap?
Chris,
uh,
I hope you
Is it
took notes on
68?
this.
what you on, Chris? You on Fan or you on Bovado? Or
I've got like a thing pulled up that lists like what they normally cost on FanDuel since it won't let me into FanDuel.
oh, gotcha. It's a $60,000 cap.
$60,000. All right,
So Chris,
sure.
oh well,
I'm at
look.
43.8.
So Chris is making him a little lineup. Phil, there's only one thing to do, and that's say let's just move on to some of these. We'll let Chris throw in his lineup here in a sec, but I say we hop on some of these NFL lines. You got 5 games, I got 5 games. I'm sure we got some similarities, at least maybe one or two. So Phil, you just go ahead and get your first one out, and then if maybe I got the same one or not, we'll just see. Just throw your first line out there, Phil.
All right, I got Dallas at Green Bay. I got the under in that 44.
Okay.
What you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, look, Phil, I bet on that game too as well, and I was thinking about going to under because Dallas's defense has been good. Aaron Rodgers and them have been bad. They couldn't even score against Detroit, who's like a bottom 3 defense in the league, and they couldn't even put up double digits or whatever. So I'm with you though, Phil. The only thing is I didn't go under. I went Dallas minus 4.5. I think Dallas is going to put it on Green Bay. Green Bay they're struggling right now. Aaron Rodgers is just getting frustrated. The shrooms they didn't work. Uh,
You need to
so
do more of them.
you need to do a mid season 3.5, Aaron Rodgers. That's all I can say. So
Yeah, you
yeah,
missed time.
I'm with you though, Phil. I liked when I saw this line. I was with you, except I wanted to go under, but I was like, you know what? I feel a little more safer just going Dallas beating Green Bay. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, Phil. Let me go ahead and give you one, and you can tell me if you got it similar. Seattle versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is favored minus 2.5. I went Seattle plus 2.5. I've been rolling with Seattle all damn year. I've been rolling with these guys, and they've been winning me money. I don't really even see. I'm not gonna say I should be shocked that Tampa Bay is favored by 2.5, but I think Seattle could win this game outright. Tampa Bay, even though they won last week, it ain't like they sat there and looked impressive. I know Tom Brady had a game winning drive. Um, you know, you know how it is. So Seattle, they've been playing good football. So what you think about that lineup, P?
Yeah, I was going to bet on that one. I was thinking the same that Seattle could win that game. That's in that game's in Germany
Yep.
real early in the morning. That's the only reason I didn't bet on it cuz I was like I just don't know about these games that are at these early morning times. Like I just try to stay away from them just cuz I got like I don't want to call it a paranoia. It's like a I feel like there's a jinx about it. How do you say it? I don't know. I just don't bet on those kind of games. I
Yeah.
got to think about them, but I like that. I like Seattle to win that game too, man. I don't know. Tom and them got it rolling in the last drive of the game. Maybe that'll spark something in them to win and beat Seattle, but I don't know. I need to see it for a whole game with them. But
Yep.
yeah, I did not have one similar to that during that game.
Well, go
Though.
ahead
But I
and
like the bet though.
throw me out another line then, Phil. What's another game you got?
All right, I picked Arizona at the LA Rams. I picked the over in that game at 40. I figure, sure, I can see both teams getting at least 20 points in that game.
Right.
If not, then close to it. You know, neither one of them has really been that good offensively. But Cooper Cup, he's gonna get some points. I feel like, no doubt. I think the Cardinals are getting a little bit rolling with D Hop. James Conner's coming back. He should be a little more healthy this week, I would think.
Yeah.
So over 40, I think, for sure in that game.
Yeah, Phil, I was gonna bet on there, but listen, man, I made a promise to myself. Arizona and Los Angeles. I've been picking them and they've been letting me down all year. I was like, I ain't picking them, and then I seen they're playing against each other. I'm like, well, I for sure ain't picking this game. I'm staying away from it. So I was just like, I just stayed away from that game. But Chris, so what's up, man? You got your little DFS lineup yet?
Yeah, I got you one.
Go for it, man.
All right. Quarterback, I got Dak Prescott playing Green Bay.
Gotcha.
At running backs, kind of spent a little bit more maybe than I should have. I don't know, but I feel like they're gonna have good games. We just talked about the Las Vegas game. I'm getting Josh Jacobs in there and Alvin Kamara because I just think that against Pittsburgh and Indiana that they're bound to go off if
Right.
Coming down, I got see where my wide receivers at. I know I've got DeAndre Hopkins on there. They're playing the Rams. I'm not sold on that defense. Jalen Ramsey been looking like a clown all goddamn year.
Good.
And then I got Chris Olave playing Pittsburgh as well.
Same.
What is it? One flex, two flex? I got two flexes right here.
Heck, I ain't
flexes
even.
I'm going Tony Pollard, Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. Shit, he was just traded,
And got the workload.
And got the workload. And the coach, Mike McDaniels, he already knows them. They've ran that same offense. Him and Mostert have ran his offense before. He outsnapped him. He outproduced him. So, little dart throw to see if he does anything against Cleveland. Cleveland's run defense is pretty good, but and then defense, I had the Saints.
Yep.
To play in Pittsburgh. They might get a few pick sixes. I don't know. That'd be like the dream.
Right. Yep. Same. Yeah, man, I'm with you. So you definitely went heavy on the running back side. That's how I see it. And heck, I don't blame you. I would have. This my lineup. I just kind of went cheap as much as I could, the best I could. So, but yeah. Well, shoot, man. I'm gonna go on to my next. I'll go on to my next line then, Phil, that I picked, and I went Cleveland versus Miami. Miami was favored by 3.5, but I picked the over at 49. Tua's been rolling. Put some respect on this motherfucker's name. Tua's a bad man. He's got two of the baddest wide receivers out there. The thing is Miami's defense stinks too, and I think Nick Chubb's gonna go out there and run all over these dudes. I think look for even Kareem Hunt to get involved. Jacoby Brissett hasn't been sorry. He's been solid. So I picked the over at 49. Poor man, what say you?
Yeah, I like that bet. I was thinking about that one, but I just didn't pick it because it was kind of high for me. I was like, that's getting up there, but I think that's a good bet. Two of them definitely gonna go off. Tyreek Hill, like I got him in my DFS. I think Amari Cooper, he might go off in that game with Jacoby Brissett some. So
Right.
I think that's definitely gonna be a high scoring game or higher scoring. So I like that pick for sure, Matt. Uh, I'll just throw y'all my next line. I got the LA Chargers at the San Francisco 49ers. I got the under at 45.5. And this is one I was like, I don't know about this one, but I kind of like that's kind of high for me. San Francisco's got a really good defense. I don't see the Chargers putting up that many points in this game. It's just so they're going to hold San Francisco a little bit, if they can stop McCaffrey and all them, then it should be a little bit lower than that, I would think. What you
Yeah.
think about that? Yeah.
Look, man, I'm with you. The Chargers offense has been struggling. I finally got to watch them. I've been watching them some, but I finally got to watch them full in detail versus the Falcons. I've been thinking Herbert's banged up. I still believe that. Mike Williams is banged up. Keenan Allen's banged up. So I think when you make it a bet like that, you just got to say the Chargers, they ain't going to score a lot of points. Now, San Francisco, for the other hand, I used to say they might not score a lot of points, but these dudes with Jimmy G and CMC and Debo's about to be back and IU, these guys better put up a lot of points. So that would be the only reason I'd be worried. But I'm with you though, P. Chris, what you think about that?
Shoot, man, yeah. Before Christian McCaffrey getting over there and completely, revamping the damn dynamic of that whole run first offense that they have. I still go with the under on this game because man, the Chargers, I don't even like watching them this year, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. And I mean, I know Justin Herbert's banged up. That kid's a prodigy. He's really good. I mean, he's definitely their franchise go-to for the next few years. Uh, Receivers hurt, but I mean, I'm with you on the under on this. Unless CMC or Debo, they go out and they have themselves a Joe Mixon game. I just don't see this game going to 45 points. I'm seeing that defense stop the Chargers, and I'm just seeing the 49ers march down the field,
yeah,
just running the ball, getting first downs, and just running the clock.
yep. I'm with you. Unless these dudes just go stupid, then yeah, I'm with you because I don't see the Chargers scoring much at all. So P, I think that was a good one. Phil, I'm gonna give you my next one.
All
Uh,
right.
Detroit versus Chicago. Chicago's favored by 3. I picked the over at 48.5. And look, P, basically it used to be in the Chicago games, I'm hitting the under. No matter what. I see a Chicago game, I see another offense, but it did a whole 180 up in here. Justin Fields got that offense rolling. They've been putting up a lot of points, even against old Bill Belichick, who's a bum. I'm just kidding. But I figured Detroit, their defense is trash. We're talking about a bottom defense. Chicago's defense, trash. We're talking about 2 trash defenses. We're talking about Justin Fields got it rolling. We're talking about, Jared Goff. They didn't score a lot of points last week versus Green Bay, but Green Bay still got a good defense. I expect both of these teams to eat. So at 48.5, Chris, what you think? 48.5, what you think?
I mean, this game right here, this is what makes this one tough, and this is what steers me away from betting on the over under on this particular game. I feel like you could probably get better doing the point spread or just going straight up on the game. This is harder to do with this because this game right here is either going to be nobody's going to score at all or they're just going to blow the fucking top off of it. And I know they're 2 bad defenses, but the Detroit Lions just went out there and picked off Aaron Rodgers in the end zone a few times. That last game, they
Yeah.
stepped up. They turned them away. I mean, they're the worst damn team in the red zone. And what I think they were number 1, weren't they? At least this last week, number 1 defense in the red zone
Yeah.
against Aaron Rodgers. But then again, I mean, Justin Fields just rushed for like 178 yards in a game. I just don't think the Detroit Lions defense can contain that. So, I mean, if I am going with anything, I'm definitely going with the over. But I think this is a little volatile matchup that you be aware. You might want to hedge on this if you're going to do this.
Yeah. P, what say you on that one?
Yeah, I heard that. I like the thoughts about the game. I picked the over in this as well, Matt. Um,
Yeah.
I threw it in. I'm gonna throw it in a parlay of mine even, but uh, yeah, I could definitely see that being the highest scoring game of the week.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think Justin Fields gonna keep rolling like he's been doing. They gonna score. Detroit, they gonna roll against Chicago. I feel like definitely. So we'll see. That game could be 60 points in that game. So
Yeah, the way we feel about that game reflects on our little DFS lineups because I picked a lot of players in my DFS lineup from that game. So, yeah, man, that's just where I went with that one. Shoot, all right, P, I got one more. You got one more. Chris gonna throw out a parlay. So, P, you want to throw me? You want to go ahead and throw your last one out?
right, let's see here. I picked New Orleans Saints versus Pittsburgh Steelers. I picked the over at 40. And that's one I was like, this could really go either way, I feel like. But I feel like in games like this, New Orleans been in some shootouts when they should have been in low scoring games. And I was like, this could be one of those. I'm like, if Pittsburgh can just score like a couple touchdowns, I feel like the Saints are definitely going to be, they can get the rest of the way to 40 points. So, what you
Yeah.
think about that, Matt?
That's a tough one. I stayed away from that line right there because basically, I put it like this, Phil. Last week, I went 5 straight. I won all 5 of mine. Monday Night Football, I lost, and it was New Orleans and Baltimore. Um, so I'm staying away. I stayed away from the New Orleans game this week pretty much because of that reason. Then Thursday night, last night, I hit on the under with the Falcons and so I'm 6 for 7. So I'm on a hot streak right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, no. Since I lost New Orleans, I was like, I'm staying away from them. I don't really know too much what to think. 40 though, you got to think it's like, can each team put up 21? You got to be like, yeah, each team could put up 21. But I don't know because I've been picking the New Orleans defense. I picked New Orleans defense in that DFS lineup. It's a tough though, but 40 is not a high mark neither though, Phil. So it's like you can go get you 40. You would imagine.
Yeah, there was like a couple games that it was like at 40. And I'm like, that's it. That is really is like the mark right there, like 40
Right.
points. Like in a lot of games, it's like, and there was two of them this week. I was just like, yeah, I'm going over that. Like, surely they can get 21 points each. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
That's funny.
All right, shoot. I'm gonna throw out my last NFL game, and then we'll let Cswizzy throw out a parlay. My last one, Phil. Denver versus Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 3 points. I don't know who's quarterbacking this week. I imagine it could be Malik Willis still, but I don't know if Tannehill's going to be back or what. Denver's defense is good. And Surtain out there just locking folks down. I know a lot of people there's a lot of buzz this past week about old Sauce Gardner out there in New York being the best corner. The best corner to me is Patrick Surtain up there in Denver. That dude will lock down anybody.
Tariq Woolen for Seattle's had a pretty good year too.
Yeah, so there's a few good corners out there, but I took Denver +3. I know the last time we saw Denver before the bye, they was in London. They actually had a little momentum with that offense. They've been trash all year. Russ has been trash, but this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't really see Tennessee putting up a lot of points, period. So Denver +3, that's the way I roll. What you say, P?
Yeah, Denver definitely got a good defense. One of the best in the league, I'd say. Top 5 or so. But yeah, Titans are going to be running the ball with Derrick Henry. We know that. So it's just going to be, can they run the ball with Derrick Henry? Like, don't matter who's quarterbacking in that game. Like,
Yeah.
just throw Malik Willis back out there, let him run every other handoff, to distract from Derrick Henry. But, yeah, they're going to be running the ball in that game. I like that pick, though, Matt. I mean, that's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be low scoring for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Swizzy, you got one set up for us yet, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Go for it.
All right. This is kind of your dart throw, your big parlays done out there. This is a 9-leg parlay. So Seattle, Tampa Bay, I'm taking the under. It's played an early ass crack of the morning, 9:30 in Munich. Seattle's been having a pretty good defense. Buccaneers got a pretty good defense.
Yep.
I'm going to take that under right there. Next, I'm taking the over in the Browns-Dolphins game.
Yep.
Titans and Broncos, two pretty good, defenses, not too spectacular of offenses. I'm going under. The Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, over.
Yep.
And then the Saints and Steelers, I'm taking the over. The Colts and Raiders, the over. The Rams and the Cardinals, the under. The 49ers, the under. And then the Eagles, under.
Yeah, that's a Monday Night Football, I believe.
Yep.
Eagles of Washington. So, yeah, a lot of over and unders on Chris is a 9-leg parlay. If you hit on a 9-leg parlay, you're making money. That's all
Let
I
me
know.
tell you, me and my wife was in Biloxi, and I bet this was even bet. Like I bet a 12-leg parlay, and I played. It was Major League Baseball. I bet on a bunch of baseball and NBA. Well, every single fucking thing that I put on there hit, except for that night, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the San Antonio Spurs, just smacked them. They were the clear favorites to win the game, and they just smacked the shit out of them, dude. I would have won off a $5 bet. I would have won $4,000 off that $5 bet had the San Antonio Spurs won that game that night.
Man, let that be a lesson to y'all out there. Don't be betting on Popovich. It's so funny how, like, David and them, they just, for some reason, it's like they just fall for the Popovich is the best. Bill Belichick is the best. They get all the credit. Like, why do these coaches get the credit? Like, stop. But yeah, Chris, that's crazy that you hit on 11 or 12 of them things, man. It's hard to do.
It is. It's very hard to do.
Heck, I do UFC parlays. That'll be long parlays, and I'll lose the very first fight of the whole day.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather that happen than fucking me watching that game while I was sitting there and I was just bitching to Haley the whole time. I was like, how the fuck did he not make that? How did he not make that?
That sounds like me when I watch a Clips game.
This is like 2 years ago. I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers was like the worst team in the NBA that season, and they beat the Spurs.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck.
That's hilarious.
I kept telling Haley, she's like, why are you so mad? I was like, because they should be winning. I was like, they're losing to Spurs.
Oh Lord, that's just hilarious. Well, shoot, man, that pretty much wraps up the NFL. We like to throw. I'm gonna, me and Phil, we're gonna do it. We ain't even going to go into detail. I'm just gonna give 3 college games I got. P, go ahead and give us a college game you got. Chris, I don't even know if you got a college game. You got any college?
Yeah, hold on, let me pull up some of the.
Go ahead, P.
Throw mine out there. I got the Iowa Hawkeyes to win outright at home against Wisconsin.
Yeah, Phil, that game was a pick 'em, I do believe, right? Close odds.
I think Wisconsin was favored by 1.5 or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm thinking Iowa at home. I just picked them to win outright.
Yep.
I ain't fooling around with no +1.5.
Right. Hit the money line on it. Might as well. I'm with you on that though, P. Yeah. All right.
What you got?
My first game. Listen, when I do these college games, I go 12. I do a 3:30 one. I do a primetime one. So at 12, I went LSU minus 3.5 versus Arkansas. I thought that line was kind of low, but Arkansas's 5-4. They've been kind of just struggling along. LSU, they're the favorites to go to the SEC championship now. So minus 3.5. The only thing that backs me off of that is you just beat Alabama. You just played a high emotional game or whatever. You might not want to go to Arkansas at 12 o'clock and go play a game. So it's like, you know how college kids are, though. But what you think, Phil?
Yeah, I actually picked that one too, Matt. So I'm with you on that one. I got LSU beating them by more than 3.5 points for sure. Yep, I feel like they're the only team that can got a chance to beat Georgia now. Like, and that's the way I see it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they definitely got to
Phil.
beat them.
While we on here, and Chris, while we on here, while the haters are out there, I know the haters are out there. Clemson just got busted up, but we got the fifth best odds to make the playoffs. So everybody sit your ass down, man, and keep on hating, cause we gonna be there in that one first four seed versus Georgia, and we gonna humble some folks. So, my next game though, P Miller was Alabama minus. They're playing against Ole Miss this week, and they're favored by 10.5. Phil, you know how I feel about Alabama. I like me some Alabama. I love me some Bryce Young, but I had to take Ole Miss plus 10.5. Alabama's defense has been struggling. Well, I ain't even gonna say they've been struggling because I really didn't even watch LSU that last week, but I know Tennessee popped it on them a little bit. I think Alabama will
Yeah.
win the game, but 10.5. If you're gonna spot me 10.5, Lane Kiffin gonna come in ready. It's at Ole Miss, so I figured 10.5 was a pretty big spread. So I went with Ole Miss. P, what you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about that one. I was like, that's a lot of points. Like, it's been that way the past few weeks. I'm like, that's too many points. That's too many points. For them Alabama games. But I never pick against them, so I would never pick that game. I would only ever pick them to make the over or something like that in the
Right,
Alabama game. So, but
agreed.
yeah, that is definitely a good pick, in my opinion, because it's too many points. It's going to be a closer game than that. So that's a good pick. Uh,
Um,
I'll throw you my next one out there, Matt. I got a TCU at Texas. I got TCU plus 7.5
mm,
on that game. I mean, I feel like they're gonna win that game. I picked them in my college pick'ems to win. Texas at home. I mean, they could definitely be the team to beat TCU, but I just like TCU. I'm rolling with them. I'm pulling for them the rest of the year to win the playoff and all that. So I'm
yeah,
rolling with the Horned Frogs.
P. I'm just gonna be honest. TCU not being an SEC or a Big Ten school, they've been disrespected. There's no doubt about it. I've been saying it from the get go. I know before the first playoff rankings, if I would have ranked them, obviously things have changed now, so I know people are thinking I'm crazy. I would have went Tennessee, TCU, Clemson, Georgia. Obviously things have changed. TCU would have been in my top four to begin with. So it's like they had four straight ranked wins or whatever. We got to start giving these guys some credit. Like this is my thing, Phil. I'm not going to get on a whole college football spill. I didn't make the system. I just go by the rules of what the system of what they claimed of what it was. I've seen what they've done with Ohio State. I've seen what they've done with Bama and stuff over the years. TCU deserves some motherfucking respect because of what their system is and what they put together. TCU can get by Texas, this is gonna be a tough game. Like I ain't gonna sit here and act like this is gonna be a rollover or anything like that. But I'm with you, Phil. I'm pulling for TCU all the way. Now I didn't bet on that game, but give me some TCU. I'm with you, Phil.
Yep, I heard that.
P, you
And
got
that was my last one because my other one was that same one you had,
okay.
LSU.
Okay, all right, Phil. I'm gonna get my last one out and we'll turn it over to Chris real quick. Of course, I'm gonna bet on the ACC game every week. I'm an ACC junkie. I always have been. North Carolina, Wake Forest. The over and under is 78. Now, listen, man, I would bet the over all day, but you know what? 78 is a lot of points. So I was thinking, hey, we gambling. I got my money on the line. I'm gonna take the under. So I took the under at 78. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored 76 or 77 points. There's gonna be a lot of points scored in this game, Phil. 78. We're talking about both teams scoring 30 plus. We're talking about both teams scoring 35 plus. So that's a lot of points. So I'm just taking the under, knowing that these defenses ain't going to do nothing. These offenses are going to roll all over them. That quarterback from North Carolina, that Drake May, freshman, he's in the Heisman race. And I don't blame him. That dude's balling out. I think when we're looking at the 2025 class, I'm going to have my eyes on that guy. I'm going to be watching this guy for the next couple of years. So, but yeah, I took the under. What you think about that one, Phil? More of a, not a strategic, it was more of like a, where the money line is, where the over and under is set at. That's basically where I stood on that one.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. You might as well take a shot at the under on that. You never know. Like, they probably still gonna score a lot of points, but that's a lot. So I'm with you. I would just take a shot at the under on that. That's really high. So
Yeah. So, Cswizzy, you were the parlay man. You done dropped us a 9-leg parlay. What you got for us on the college streets?
Shit. I wouldn't even really bet on many of the college ones.
Yeah.
I'd bet on that TCU, Texas.
Yeah.
But I would just take TCU winning straight up rather than just play with the points or anything like that, because that game's either they will go out there and lose the fuck out that game, or it's going to be a good, real close game.
Yep.
Otherwise, Alabama, Ole Miss, that is a lot of points to give you. I think that if any point, I mean, you got the 10 and 11 Alabama, Ole Miss playing each other. If they're going to gift you almost 11 and a half points straight out the gate, I mean, you kind of got to take it.
Yeah.
That other 78 points, that is a lot of fucking points.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I'm with you. And listen, man, off the top of my head, peeps, there was one more line. I know Clemson is favored by 7. I know it came down by 6.5. Listen, man, I know I said Clemson's going to humble some folks. They ain't humbling nobody. I wouldn't be listen, they gonna humble some folks from a fan standpoint, but I ain't gonna put my money on them to do it. If you're betting on Clemson, I wouldn't bet on the spread. I'm just being honest. We're gonna have to take a wait and see approach with these guys, man. The way they looked last week, holy shit! I cannot even think it's. I gotta call out my guy Jordan Harris, man, Chris, man. I cannot believe that this man Jordan threw me under the bus like this. You can ask the poor man. I've been telling Jordan all year, I don't buy into Clemson like that. I ain't bought into us. This man Jordan gets on there with all his little...
I'm very vocal in the group chat. I'm like, man, dude, I don't even like our fucking starting quarterback. I think he's terrible.
Man, Chris, man, that man Jordan went on there, oh my mother, this man Matt told me he was going to win it all this year. I had not said that not one motherfucking time, man. I cannot believe he going to get on Georgia fans, man. Arrogant as hell.
I just want them to be like, 3 to 4 years from now, they very easily could be us. We just are doing what they did. It's not like we're the second most winningest team in the college football playoff era. I mean,
it's like, yo, it ain't like they act like we didn't see them.
Like, y'all are ass. I was like, okay, well, a few years ago, before we were winning championship, we were fucking dog shit anyway. And I was like, we weren't that. I remember we struggled with Georgia Tech. It's all right, though. We won. We got through. We won it. But let's see if they can sustain it. I don't want to live in a world where Georgia's won back-to-back national championships. No, I won't lie to you.
Amen, man. Amen. But I will say this. I'm glad this is happening when I'm close to my 30s than it was in my young 20s, because, man, I really couldn't take Georgia going back-to-back when I was younger, man.
If they do that night, as soon as the game's over, you're just going to see in the group chat, Chris Shira has left the group chat. I ain't dealing with it.
Oh, man. All right, look, real quick, man. We're going to wrap it up, but real quick, I ain't going to go into detail. UFC 281 is tomorrow. I love the fights. Phil used to watch the fights. I'd be trying to get my cousins to hop on the fights. Stream them, man. I ain't paying for the pay-per-views. Go ahead and stream them, fellas. Everybody out there. Hopefully this podcast don't blow up and Dana White hears this shit, but we streaming that shit. We pirating them things, motherfucker. So I got me I do a little main event parlay. I do me a big parlay every day, but I do a main event parlay, and that's what I'm gonna share with y'all the most. Adesanya, the defending champ, he's gonna win. The thing is like there's a lot of hype coming out. He lost to this guy in kickboxing however many years ago. They're fighting in the UFC main event. I can't wait to see it, man, because this dude's big, and this dude, it's going to be a good fight. But Adesanya's the champ. He's the best. I think he's going to win. Zhang Weili, this is another title fight going on, a female fight. She's going to beat, Carla Esparza. There ain't no doubt about it. She's a heavy favorite. Rose, I love you, Rose, but you went out there and shit a brick. This fight shouldn't even be happening. So Weili's going to win. Dustin Poirier, shout out to my cousin D out there. This is Dustin's guy right here. Dustin Poirier going against Michael Chandler. This is probably the fight I'm looking forward to the most. I'm picking Poirier. Gutierrez fighting Frankie Edgar in his final fight. This is his last fight of his career. He's going to take an L and then walk out of here like every UFC fighter. And then last, I got Claudio Puelles going against Dan Hooker. Look, man, I love Dan Hooker. Love Dan Hooker. This dude's lost like 2 or 3 fights in a row. He's on the decline. I'm taking Puelles, so my parlay is Adesanya, Weili, Poirier, Gutierrez, Puelles. Other fights to look at is Dominique Reyes. He's going to win his fight. Andre Petrosky, he's going to fight. And then, Aaron Blanche is fighting, heck, I can't even think of her name. I gotta look. I'm sorry, fellas. I have to look it up, man. I have to. She's fighting, getting a lot of hype too. Molly something. Dang, fellas, I'm sorry. I don't want to keep y'all holding, but I gotta say something about it. I should just drop a gambling podcast and talk about UFC all the time. Let me look. Okay, Molly McCann. Listen, Molly McCann's fighting. She been riding a lot of hype, fighting in England over there, fight with old Patty Pimblett and acting like she's the shit. Well, you know what? You're getting your ass beat, Molly, and I can't wait to see it. So I would be Blanchfield, Petrosky, Dominique Reyes. They're in the prelims, the early prelims. Check them out. It's going to be a good fight card. 6, 8, 10. I cannot wait. So, but yeah, summing it all up, fellas, thanks for hopping on this gambling podcast for me. I like to throw out a little gambling for the people every week. P. Miller, the poor man, you always on. Chris, thanks for hopping on. People out there, thanks for listening to the podcast, first of all, and give us a 5-star review. We demand it. We demand the 5-star review. And add the podcast, and as far as the podcast goes, this is for the casual fan, and this is for the people who are deep into it, like me and the craft man. But we're going to throw out a gambling episode to help you make some money or help you lose some money. So, but yeah, thanks for listening to us. P. Miller, poor man, you got anything to say to the people?
Man, I wish I was a bookie, man. Y'all could place your bets with me.
Right.
So when y'all lose, I'll just take all that. I'll be the house for y'all. But I ain't gonna say. We appreciate y'all listening out there, all my peoples. Y'all be good.
Hey, man, Cswizzy. I've been talking to Phil. The poor man's politics, we will reboot it after football season. It will be back. And we know y'all want it. People want it, Phil. And we will be giving it to y'all. Cswizzy, what's going on? You got anything to say to the people?
Really, go out there. My parlay hits and you play it. Maybe send a brother a little bit of money. I got another baby on the way.
Chris got another baby on the way. We need these gamblings to hit. We need them to hit. So, but yeah, man, thanks for listening to the podcast. That wraps it on up. We out.